And all I'm going to say is look out, Detroit. Just watch out because you're coming in as the 1 seed. And not only do I believe Washington's going to cover this, I think there's a real chance they can win this game. I bet them on the
Really?
line plus 400. I do. I think there's a real shot. This Commanders team feels like they're they're legit. Like you hear Terry McLaurin talking after the game the other night, and he's like, "Yep, keep doubting us. We have our guy. This team, we play together. Clench your butt cheeks, because this is going to be
Yeah.
close no matter what side you're on." I think the Commanders can really win this game outright. I did,
Wow.
like I said, small sprinkle for me, but plus 400 on the money line. That's insane.
That's right, man. How the hell did you predict that? Because that was probably the story or one of the top stories in our podcast history was you nailing Washington upsetting Detroit on divisional weekend, Matt.
Just a matchup problem, man. And you saw it. Like the Lions are getting way too much respect for being banged up. Like their defense is they're playing with guys off the street showing up to be in the crowd, like
Yeah,
and you have Washington team that's surging right now, like clearly. And Jaden Daniels playing with all the confidence in the world. They've told you he's a different rookie for weeks. He's not your average rookie. And we saw that. I mean, the guy once again, cool as a cucumber, makes the right play. You get pressure, okay, I'm gonna run away from it. Or I'll make the right throw. He just makes the right decision constantly, which is crazy as a rookie. Um, this is I know he's in the NFC Championship now, but if you actually take a step back, it's starting to look like is this the best rookie season for a quarterback ever?
I think it is. Yeah, I don't think it's a question.
Is that a crazy statement? Am I in the
No,
moment
it's
right
not.
now? I
It's
just
not.
feel
I
like,
think we're witnessing that right now. Yeah.
yeah, so for me, it just the line that was outrageous, just disrespectful to begin with. Um,
But it
and
wasn't a surprise because that's a line that we've seen the entire season, right? A heavy favor for Detroit, and everybody just chalked up Washington to be like, oh well, now they're gonna, finally come to reality here in Detroit, and the spotlight's obviously there in Detroit Saturday night. Everybody's picking the Lions, and it's just a trend that we've seen the entire year. So I can't say I'm surprised by it, but looking back at it, like that's very respectful for the Detroit defense, and you pointed it out. You pointed it out. It's a fantastic call, and I'm glad you posted to our Instagram at Bettor In-Laws to chirp about it as well.
well,
Uh,
it's just like the coaching mismatch too. Like
that too, yeah.
I get that people like Dan Campbell. Is he a culture setter? Yes. Is he a motivational guy? Yes. When it comes down to it, does he know what the hell's going on offense or defense? No. Like, and he'll tell you
Yeah.
that. He says,
And
like Ben runs the offense, Aaron runs the defense. I coach the guys. And like,
and let me
he,
just add to that, Matt. In terms of the coaching, I feel like Dan Quinn just gets so much disrespect.
yeah,
He's a good coach, and I
he,
think I think a lot of it is the 28-3 collapse to the Patriots. Yes, but there's also a lot of people, and it's just kind of sounds stupid, but like looking at him, he's like, oh, look at this guy with the backwards hat, right? Like this guy
yep.
doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Meanwhile, Dan Campbell's crying like a baby in post game. I understand he gets emotional and everything, but this is like multiple times now where the head coach of the football team is crying visibly at a press conference. Like, come on, dude, you're the head coach of the football team.
Pick it up.
Um, but Dan Quinn, man, Dan Quinn, I think he doesn't get the respect he deserves.
I totally agree with you. I think he's a good coach. I think and he's another guy that gambles a lot, like Campbell. The difference is like, and they're both good on fourth down conversions, but the Washington's hitting like fourth downs at like 70%. It's like outrageous, and that's again goes back to Jaden Daniels and the quarterback he is. And this team, they're a fun team to get behind and root for. Jaden Daniels, man, he's got a bright career. That's all I can say.
And with this Washington outright win on Saturday, this is from The Athletic. And it says out of the 210,000 bets tracked on the Lions Commanders game by Pickett Sports, which is a bet tracking app that records the volume and value of sports wagers, there were only 1,774 bets recorded on the Washington money line. Think about that. That's crazy. So, not to mention the books cleaned up on Saturday on that game alone. But think of all the futures bets that they cleaned up on in terms of Detroit coming in out of the NFC, Detroit winning the Super Bowl. Vegas cleaned the hell up on Saturday with just this game alone. Huge, huge for the books.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll say is like you got to keep this stuff in mind. Everybody's betting playoff football. It's also the hardest time of year to win money. So you have to understand
Yep.
that. And when I could tell you, I felt so confident. I know when we recorded and it was 9.5, and some of the books started pushing 8.5 back with Detroit. They were inviting the teaser. They were inviting Detroit -2.5 to come down because everybody was with Kansas City and Detroit, Kansas City and Detroit, Kansas City and Detroit. And as soon as that line dropped down to 8.5 at some books, some it went all the way to 10. So there was a varying, depending on where you're looking. I saw 8.5 and I saw 10. So you could have both sides. But they were inviting that teaser. And to me, that is a red flag. And I'm sorry, I couldn't see it with Kansas City. I could absolutely see it with Washington. I had already bet Washington the 9.5. I already bet them on the money line. So I was happy about it. But I teased Kansas City with Philly, and that was done on purpose because I believe both of those teams were going to win. And I thought I said it. I thought in order, I thought that Washington had the best chance to upset them, and they did. So it was a nice hit. It was a great Saturday. Sunday was a little bit of a
Well,
frustrating one for us, but
yeah, Matt, why don't you just run through our
yeah,
divisional picks and then we'll move ahead. And I do want to mention at the end of this episode, we do have a surprise mini announcement. Not a huge deal, but it's an announcement nonetheless. So stay tuned for that. But Matt, get to our divisional picks and the recap there.
yeah. So we gave out 4 picks each. You nailed the your best bet with the Lions Commanders over 55.5. I mean, that
Yeah.
number was high, and they
First
almost hit it in
quarter.
the first half. I mean, it was insane. So nice hit there.
Yeah.
Texans was a loss for you at 8.5. Can I get something off my chest? Because I saw
Sure.
this a bunch, like, oh, all-time bad beat for the Chiefs. No, it wasn't. Like, if you bet the Chiefs -9.5, you're an idiot. And I'll say that straight out. You could have had 7.5, 8.5, 8 all week. That number stayed there all week. And then Sunday or Saturday morning,
Went to
public
nine and a
markets
half.
getting even heavier and heavier. It moves to 9.5. So if you lost on that bet, you deserve to lose that bet. That's genuinely how I feel. You have all week to bet these games, and it's playoff time. Like this is like you got to get in there early. I know a couple people that hit on the Texans because they played the 9.5 or the 10 that popped.
Yep.
Kudos to them. I mean, that was an all-time luck cover. But at the
Yeah,
end
I
of the
missed
day,
by a
like
hook.
Geez. But it's just a message. Like it's not a bad beat if you made a dumb bet. Like I need to clarify that. It's so many people say bad beat. I'm like, no, bad bet. Like play the numbers matter. They are moving for a reason. At a certain point, numbers are no longer good. So just keep that in mind. So you had the Texans 8.5, which is a normal number to bet them at, and you lost because of that. Eagles -6 was a push. Um, uh, this was my best bet too, so I'll cover this. I thought this would be a multiple score game. It should have been a multiple score game. They had 2 missed extra points, a safety involved. Jalen Hurts playing like he was a lefty and
My
was trying to throw righty all game.
I have two massive uh I don't know, scratches to itch with that game. Is that the saying? I don't know.
Sure, go ahead. We'll accept it even if it's not.
Yeah, itches to scratch. No, it scratches to itch. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever the hell.
scratch.
Two things that really pissed me off from that game. Jalen Hurts goes out with a knee injury, right? And goes to the tent. The drama starts to build. Kenny Pickett's warming up on the sideline. You're like, all right, here we go. This is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be Pickett time. And all of a sudden, Hurts is back out there. Like, oh, okay. Well, I guess he's
Got to
tough.
be fine, right? He's got to
Got
be
a brace
fine.
on. The camera zooms in on the brace. So they're pinned back in their own, what was it? Their 5 yard line, four or
At
five
seven, I
yard
think it
line.
was
Like
seven.
they're
Yeah,
pinned back. Hurts is in the
inside the
10.
10.
So he's coming out of the 10. And the first play you do, pinned back there, is throw the ball. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm just going to blame Sirianni because I love to blame Sirianni for that. What are you doing? That's the perfect scenario to just hand it off to Saquon Barkley and
Yeah,
see if you can get a cushion or anything and keep your quarterback comfortable coming back from the medical tent. And that's when the safety happened. Just dumb. Just
not to mention,
absolutely dumb.
not to mention that he took 2 sacks in the first half that took him out of field goal range. Oh, one was in the first half, one was in the second half. He takes 2 sacks to take him out of field goal range when they could have
Uh,
had points. They had the
First was dumb.
safety, 2 missed extra points, and he was clearly holding the ball way too long in this game. Now,
Yep.
Hurts, he genuinely does this or generally does this. It's not a new thing with him. He does hold the ball a long time. The Rams are getting enough pressure at the 4 or 5 second mark that you got to do something with the ball, and he wasn't. So on top of that, they call that play, and he's standing around in the end zone and takes the sack. Like it was so infuriating. That game, there was no reason they didn't cover that 6. There was no reason that they didn't
So
by double digits, period.
right. My other big complaint from that game was, Saquon's off to the races with like 420 left, right? Hell yeah, 420. And then he's off to the races, and you're like, okay, well, let's pop the cork on this one. A double-digit victory here. Rams offense has been sputtering for the past few possessions there. And the Philly defense just like
Prevent.
popped the
Prevent.
cork too. They were with us, like on the couch. They were
Yeah.
celebrating. Like they completely checked out of that. And credit to the Rams and McVay and Stafford for charging down the field and making it a game again in that amount of time. But the Philly defense completely fell asleep there.
Yeah. And as someone who actually had a 5.5 ticket, I'll tell you, I was getting really upset. Like I was getting the missed extra points were infuriating, infuriating. And like I was like, I took it as a lot. I wasn't even like happy at the end that I hit the 5.5 because I had a little 6 too. I played both. And I mean, at market when we did the show it was 6, and it only went up from when we did the show. So I know people who lost on 6.5. Um, just missed extra points, dude. And then he hits the 37-yard field goal in the snow, but he can't hit an extra point. It's just frustrating, frustrating game.
All right. Well,
Much
I have
better.
you on I have you on limited time today, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I keep
So
talking.
just
Double like on the Ravens, double loss on the Ravens. Just
yeah,
Mark
we all know the
Andrews
Mark Andrews story, so it is what it is.
was what it was is right. So 1-2-1 for you. I was 2-1-1. Just go to the overall record at this point. 46-50-2 for you on the year. Tuck 9-10 on best bets. For me, I am. Wait a second, is that right? That's not right, is it? Yeah, that's wrong. You're 10-10 on best bets. Didn't update that. And I am
Bastard.
57-37-4 on the year. 13-4 and now 3 on best bets.
All right, there you go. Well, let's jump ahead here to championship weekend here. Just a note to our listeners, we are recording on Tuesday afternoon, early Tuesday afternoon. So this is the lines for that. In case you're listening later on in the week, we can't, predict what lines are going to change here. Let's get right into it, Matt. We're just going to give out a best bet and a like here from what I'm seeing.
Two
Let's
games,
just.
2 plays. What do you, I mean,
Do you want to just start AFC or NFC? What's the first game? NFC?
let's just do them in order of the games. NFC is first.
All right, NFC's first. Quick note here: a 6 seed has made it to the Super Bowl only twice, but those 6 seeds were the 2005 and 6 Steelers and the 2010-11 Green Bay Packers, both of whom walked away with the trophy. And that's what we're looking at with the Commanders here. Can they continue that trend? I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
No, they can't. But I will say, best bet: Washington Commanders +6. Too many points. And you know what? If you wait, I'm going to tell you right now. If you wait, you probably get a better number. But we're doing the show on Tuesday. That's the number. So this is the number I'm on. I just think there's too many points here. I think the reason I say if you wait, I think the people that look at this, it's going to say Washington's in their fourth straight road game. That's a nightmare. Philly's due to kind of they split the series 1-1, but Hurts got banged up, and if you watch that game, Philly jumped out to a big lead with Hurts in that game, and then Pickett played terrible in the second half, and it allowed the Commanders to kind of come back and Jane Daniels do his thing, get a touchdown late to win that game. So I think if you look at it objectively like that, people are going to be like, okay, Philly. Plus, Philly can run the ball. Clearly, Washington really struggling to stop the run, so it's not a good matchup from that side. However, that number tells me that Jalen Hurts is 100%. And I'm sorry if he wouldn't even get in there for a tush push on third and goal, the game on the line, or fourth and goal. There's something up there. And the way he played last week, I don't like the way he's playing at all. Also, AJ Brown's not right either. Something's up with him. I know he was banged up at the end of the year. I don't think he's 100%. So I think Philly is really limping into this game. On the flip side, here we go again. No, this is just too many points. It just feels disrespectful to Jaden Daniels and this Commanders team. Is this run going to end on Sunday? Probably. I like Philly in a close game. I think 3 or 4 points. So I will not be betting the money line with Washington here. I will say that right off the jump. Um, but I do think 6 is a little disrespectful here. Too many
Sure.
points. Personally, as someone who has a lot invested in Philly winning the Super Bowl, well, we got to get there first. And again, we talked about Dan Quinn earlier in the recap talk, but this is part of my handicap. This is a strong coach advantage for me with Washington.
Matt,
Like,
it's in my notes. It's in my notes here. Look at the coaching and the coordinators in this matchup alone. Dan Quinn, Nick Sirianni, who sucks. Cliff Kingsbury. Like, go down the list. This is all about the coaching and the coordinators for this game.
I do think Vic Fangio is a better defensive
Nick Fangio,
coordinator,
thank you. Yeah.
but like I think Quinn's got his hands on the defense. They have to know that in order for them to pull this one off next. I mean, they've pulled off back-to-back upsets in the playoffs. Tough to do. To do it 3 times is almost never happens.
Yeah.
So like you have to understand the history you're betting. Yeah, you're on here. Um, Again, not saying they're going to win, but I think they keep it close. I just think this is a field goal game. I think Philly wins the game. It could be a 2 point game because Sirianni goes for 2 at some point. Like you never know what you're going to get with this guy, or a missed extra point. Maybe they're better off going for 2. Who the hell knows? Their kicker's a mess. Like he's in his own head. So I'm on this Jaden Daniels train right now, and I'm going to keep backing it. I make the game 6. I'm going to say that, but I make the game 6 with a Jalen Hurts completely healthy and AJ Brown completely healthy.
So, so I've seen this open at 5.5, and then it moved to 4.5. You don't like it at those numbers, correct?
I did play a little 5.5 when it first opened because I thought, well, maybe this comes down a little bit once they say like, but that was right away, right after the game, and I'm watching Hurts limp around, and then Hurts comes out and he's like, I'm fine, everything's fine. But what's he gonna say? Then so it went back up to 6, and I think people will hear that and say, okay, he's fine. I'm gonna take the Eagles, and I don't hate it. I mean, look, these numbers are sharp at this point of the season. Like, look at last week. I mean, the Ravens don't cover on a 2 point conversion. That opened +1. I mean, so like these numbers are close. At the end of the day, you gotta go with your gut
Yeah.
in a lot of these ways. It's really about 95% of the time it's about picking the winner, and you're probably going to cover these games. I just don't think it's the case here. I think it's too many points, and I think if Hurts if he plays anything like he did last week, I think this Philly team's in trouble. I think the way Washington's moving the ball on offense. Now, we'll say this is a different defense.
Do
This is a very different defense.
Do you think that the sharp play is actually Philly here?
No, I think the sharp
I
play.
feel I feel like the public's going to be on Washington at 6. No,
Uh,
just because of what we
Yeah,
wit.
maybe. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, it's a lot of points. It probably is the public side that we're on. Um,
I mean, don't look it up now. That's just my feeling going
you're
into it.
probably right. I haven't looked at the public. I mean, obviously, it's
Don't
also
bother. It's only
Tuesday, so
Tuesday.
like, I don't think the
Right.
public's betting yet.
Right.
But I mean,
Uh, yeah. Just a couple of quick notes here. Washington's rush defense ranked 30th in rush yards allowed per game. So if you thought Saquon went bananas in the snow against the Rams, look out. I
Yep.
don't know. I don't know what Washington's going to do to contain Saquon. I don't know. They're going to need to come close in terms of of possession here to come close or and keep this close and possibly win this game. I'm with you. I don't think Washington wins this game. I'm sticking to my guns with the Kansas City and Eagles Super Bowl prediction I had towards the beginning of the year. I'm sticking to that. But 6 points is a lot. It's a lot. Um, so that's
It
that.
it just feels like slightly too many to me.
Yeah. No,
It's
and
strong. This is
nothing.
not a strong. Can I just say, like, you get 2 games left in the season, and you got to pick one for your best bet. I'm picking Washington because I like the line better, but I will say, go
All right.
easy.
So best bet there for Matt is Washington +6, and it was also a like for me, near best bet for me. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Bills square off in Arrowhead for the second matchup here. Mahomes is 3-0 against Josh Allen in the playoffs. And the last time these two teams faced each other in the playoffs was actually the divisional round. For some reason, I thought it was the AFC Championship game last year, but it was the divisional round last year. Chiefs won out in Buffalo 27-24. Time of possession for this one, Matt. Chiefs had 22 minutes and 57 seconds, and the Bills controlled the time of possession by just over 37 minutes. And they still lost the game. Penalties, Bills had 5 penalties. Chiefs had 2 penalties. Chiefs had a turnover as well, and Chiefs still found a way to win. Best bet for me, Matt, give me the under on this one, 47.5. If there's anything better, like I don't know if you're seeing a 48.5. I know that's what it opened at. I'll take it as well. I just feel like this is a time of possession, grind out the clock sort of game. Look at the Chiefs' last couple of conference games, by the way. Last year in Baltimore, they won 17-10 over the Ravens. In 2022, they won 23-20 over the Bengals. So I think that trend is going to continue. I think this is going to be a defensive slug match. Buffalo's defense has improved towards the latter half of the season and into the playoffs here. And I just think this is going to be a control the clock and get out of there with a win sort of game. So give me the under on this one. Best bet for me, under 47.5, Matt.
All right. So my other pick in this one, I'm taking Kansas City. I'm
Yep.
not betting against Patrick Mahomes at home, AFC title game. Get it, given 1.5. Buffalo just off that huge win against the Ravens. All the momentum there, right? Kansas City, ho hum. Here we go again. Another win against the Texans. Um, Playoff time, and I'm not doing it. So I want this bet to lose more than anything I've ever bet in my life. I want this bet to lose.
Oh yeah, I'm rooting for the Bills, but the
I'm
Chiefs are
rooting
going to
for the
win.
Bills. I'm
Yeah.
tired of this Kansas City nonsense. But how do you bet against Mahomes? You're betting against the refs. You're betting
In
against it all
Arrowhead. In
in Arrow.
Arrowhead.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the other thing is like he does get a lot of calls. Let's not. I mean, it is what it is, and it sucks as a viewer. Um, but as a better, I'm just going to keep backing him until I see otherwise, until someone beats him, especially Buffalo in the playoffs. This team has had the Chiefs number in the regular season. In the playoffs, they haven't been able to beat them. And to go to Arrowhead and try and do it here, tough task. Now, I'm back in the Chiefs -1.5 as my second like.
Mm-hmm.
I know I just gave you a best bet, but uh we don't give out teasers as bets on this show.
Oh, yes.
But
Thank you for bringing
my
this up.
favorite bet of this week,
Yes.
and the bet I will put the most money on right
Mm.
now,
Okay.
you can bet Philadelphia money line with the
Kansas.
Bills +7.5.
Oh,
It's my best bet, a real like financially sound bet of the weekend. So like Washington's my best bet. Still like the +6, but I'm playing the other sides of these picks in a teaser. I will take Philly at a pick, and I will take the Bills up to 7.5. I think that's a beautiful play. I think both of these games stay close. I like the other sides as my likes, and I'm going for a middle on this to sweep the board. And so give out 3 plays here. I know one's not official because of the teaser, but that's my favorite play. And I think I don't see Philly losing. And I don't think the Bills are getting blown out. I think they're good enough to compete. I think Josh Allen's not going to allow them to get beat. So for me, that's my favorite play of the weekend. If you're looking to, I know not everyone's a teaser better, but that one makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm going that route. But I will be playing Washington +6. Decent. I'll also just say I bet Kansas City -1.5 in Washington, sort of a financial side, the exact same amount. So it's
Gotcha.
there's no difference there for me. The teaser was my heaviest bet because that's the way I see it. But I know a lot of people also don't like to go and say like, well, now I'm betting Washington and Philly, like, and I gotta hope that the game lands within 6 points. I think it does. So that's why I am
Yeah, I like that.
on both sides of that. And the same thing with Kansas City and Buffalo. I think Kansas City's going to win by 2 to 4 points. So I'm taking the Bills up to 7.5. Gives you that protection of over a touchdown. I think that's a good bet. So those are my plays. That's the way I'm playing this weekend.
So just to reiterate, 6 point teaser, Buffalo +7.5, Eagles even pick.
Yep. -120 at DraftKings. That's the way you want to tease. Or if you're
Like
using like
that.
a FanDuel or MGM, I'd suggest using DraftKings for teasers because you get the -120. It's the best price you're going to get in market on the public apps.
Sure.
If you're utilizing a bookie, you're probably not getting -120, but you might, and we'll go from there.
Oh, I like that a lot because I feel like you're going to see a lot of Eagles Chiefs teasers out there, right? And that square is shit.
Well, the Chiefs again, you're getting them down to. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I only tease using the Wong teasers. I know we've talked about it a few times on the show, but just to reiterate for people who don't know what that is, Wong teasers is this guy, the last name Wong. Forget his first name. Anyways, comes up with this theory that you want to tease between the key numbers of 3 and 7, because the value of those numbers is huge, right? So like if you're getting through 3 and 7, which you are with the Bills, right? You're taking them from 1.5 up through 3 and above 7, right? That's a huge win. Like that's a good side to be on. If you're teasing through two key numbers, that's great value. In the case that they don't go through 3 and 7, if you're doing like Philly, for example, 6-0, most people would say just parlay them.
Yeah.
Just parlay them or play the money line straight up with Philly because it's better value than needing a second team to win and go that way. So it depends on however you want to look at it. For me, I think 6 in this case is okay to tease down. 6 is a number that I would tease down if I think a team's just going to win the game. 6.5, I still get them below a point. So if I think a team's going to win, I will play that teaser. So in this case, especially in the playoffs, because you can't tie,
Hmm.
you need a team to win the game. So I think Philly's going to win. I'm playing it that way.
Well, Matt, this is the producer in me. Stanford Wong is his name,
Stanford, that's it.
and
Thank you.
that is a pen name, and his real name is John Ferguson.
Well, look at that.
Look at that. Little fun fact here on the Better In-Laws podcast for you.
There you go. Stanford won. Correct.
Last time, by the way, that these two teams faced this regular season, Bills won 30-21. But keep in mind, the Chiefs did not have Pacheco or Hollywood Brown, Jalen Watson, Butker, DeAndre Hopkins, Charles Amenu. Is that
A
his name?
menu. A
Yeah.
menu.
Yeah. And Chiefs offense was just not looking the same at that point in time. Um, yeah, I'm with you too. It was a near best bet for me. I just think that total was too high for these two teams in the playoffs. I think it's just going to be a battle and possession battle and defensive slug match. I think maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Do you
I
have
mean,
different vibes? Do you think this could be a shootout?
um, the thing that scares me about the under is the Bills just feel like a dead over team. One of those teams that just they score a
Yeah,
lot
they
of
put up
points.
points.
But
Yeah,
but the Chiefs have been a dead under team. So
right.
in in an AFC championship game,
I would
typically you think like it's going to be a little bit slower out of the gate, like a little more cautious. But these teams have been there before and they know what it takes to win. So
right.
that's
And one thing is absolutely for certain is Spags is going to show up and have that defense absolutely ready.
yeah,
No doubt about it. So that's more of the play for me is the
yeah,
Spags play.
yeah. I could see it. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a good. I think we get two good football games. I know
Yeah.
you can say that down at the championship. You hope that's the case with championship weekend. I think Washington's offense has come a long way. That they keep it interesting. As good as Philly's defense is, they're Philly's D much better than Tampa or Detroit. Like, so I don't expect them to go up and down the field, not punt again. Like I think you'll
Yeah.
see Washington use their punter in this game, but
Yep.
I think they'll still keep up. And I think you're looking at probably like a 27-24 type of game or something in that range. My 2 cents. Maybe a little lower scoring. I don't know. It's my 2 cents.
Matt, we got a couple minutes left here, right? You got time?
Yeah, plenty of time
Let me ask you these questions. What is the best Super Bowl and what is the worst Super Bowl matchup?
from these four.
Yeah.
Ooh, Chiefs anything. I just don't. I mean, it's hard. I would love to see the Bills get in. So that Bills either one for me personally is a better.
Anything with
Actually, I
anything,
think
yeah, for you personally, anything with Bills in the Super Bowl is the best route, right? Because everybody's over
from a
with the
fan perspective, I think
yeah.
people
So
outside of
it's
Kansas City,
Bills. I would say Bills and Eagles,
I would love to see it.
Battle of
But
the East Coast, right?
yeah, Bills Commanders,
Bills Commanders would be fun too, actually.
that could be fireworks.
You know what
Uh,
would be an underrated one? You know what would be an underrated one? Washington versus Kansas City. Jaden Daniels taking on Pat Mahomes, and you're already hearing chatter of Jaden Daniels being the next Patrick Mahomes, right? So face them off against each other. I think that's a terrific story. Terrific story if we saw that.
I don't think you'd see Washington stop them. That's my one concern. That defense is they scare me a little bit, and that Kansas City team can uh, uh, against that
I don't
defense.
know.
It's just
Jaden Daniels
who
versus
knows, bro.
Spags, man. Oh, I would
It'd be
love to
fun.
see that.
It'd be
Love to
fun. I
see
mean,
that.
that's a true test. I mean, I'd be on Kansas City all day in that, but with Spags with the Spags against Jaden Daniels would be fun.
What's
Um,
the worst Super Bowl? Chiefs and Eagles?
yeah, I mean, I don't
Because
really think you could have
been
a
there,
bad
done that.
outcome at this point. I think you get a good game either way, but I just can't envision the Eagles not being in it. I
That,
personally want to see Bills Eagles.
that would
Me,
be fun. I think
from a
you're right
betting
on that.
standpoint, I want Kansas City and the Eagles, but I
Well,
think my brain's telling me it's going to be Philly KC again.
all right. So we both think it's going to be KC Philly. What's the line on that one?
Would I make it or
AC minus one and both. What do you think it's going to be, and what's your line? I would think it's going to be KC minus 1.5.
I would agree. It's probably a -1.5 in Kansas
But
City direction. I make it Philly
your line.
minus.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I make it Philly -1. I think Philly's a better team when healthy. Again, like Hurts, AJ Brown, like you'd assume they win this game. They get a couple more weeks of rest and ready to go. But if that Philly team looks like last week, I'd change. That's not my line anymore. Say that.
All right. All
So
right. Well, just to recap here, and before we get to our quick announcement here, we have best bet for Matt is Washington +6. Also a like for me, Washington +6. Anything under that, a little hesitant on, right? Because again, we're recording on Tuesday, so not sure how that line's going to move. But as of Tuesday, it's +6. And best bet for me was Chiefs Bills under 47.5. You're not seeing any 48s out there by chance, are you?
nah,
I'll happily
47 and a
take
half.
that.
Both games 47.5.
Yeah.
Interesting little
They
nugget.
both open at 48.5. And then the other like for you, Matt, was KC minus 1.5. And if I had a third like, it would also be KC minus 1.5. But we don't have a third like. So,
Gave you a bonus teaser.
um, as for the quick show announcement, we will have another podcast for you this week in addition to this one. And that'll be coming out most likely on Friday. And we'll talk about some props that Matt's liking. Maybe I will contribute to that and take a look at the prop market and what you're seeing, Matt, and maybe some sprinkle in a little DFS there. And yeah, so look out for that one. Turn on your notifications for Bettor In-Laws on your Apple or Spotify, and feel free to leave us a 5-star review or give us a like, and make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. So rather than our one time a week podcast, we'll talk to you later this week.
Yeah, coming
Again,
at you with a anytime touchdown parlay that like.
yeah, can't go wrong with those. And we know that Matt nails his first time touchdowns
Okay with them.
a lot this season. So
Okay.
look forward to that. Turn on notifications, and you'll be up to date on when that second podcast comes out later on this week. But those are our likes, our best bets for the conference championships. We'll talk to you guys in a few days. Matt, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Tuck. We'll see you guys.
All right. See you guys.